Hello and welcome. Let's see if we can get that other camera working. Hello and welcome. Do we see the other camera? I guess not. I'm going to try plugging in again and replugging. Yeah, I hope everyone in Minnesota survived the storm. It's still blowing east, but I just realized I'm not talking into the microphone because it's over here for this camera. So we'll try to get this set up. And did that bring it back? We're going to keep trying. I know there's no video right now, but working on getting that sorted out. So anyone, hello and welcome to the Electric Car Hangout. Sorry we're a little jumbled today. We did just have storms with... Why is that not going in? Ah, there we are. All right, now I'll come back over here by the mic so you can actually see me and hear me at the same time. Novel concept for a live stream, huh? But welcome. Camera might need to go down a little bit. So yeah, we just had my daughter's bedtime, but before that, we all had to kind of come down to the basement and ride out some storms that were blowing through. I don't think we had any actual tornadoes, but it was pretty loud, pretty windy, a little bit of hail. Not too bad, but definitely something to be cautious about. So the live stream setup kind of got put on hold. Actually, I have kind of a new lighting setup and everything, so if it looks weird, let me know. If it looks good, let me know. But anyway, excited to finally be back after being off last week. I just couldn't make it swing with things, and so now we've got all sorts of trucks to talk about, and some really cool things. And if you've been on YouTube at all today and you enjoy EV stuff, you know that the embargo lifted for people who were at the test drive of the F-150 Lightning. And my big question after watching a few of the reviews, reading a couple articles, is does anybody not like it? It seems everyone is either impressed, pleasantly surprised, or at least it meets their expectations. I didn't hear or see anything to the effect of that it wasn't meeting anyone's expectations. So really glad about that. It's good that it sounds like they've come out swinging right out of the gate, and that's cool to see. It's going to be a big vehicle. The question my wife asked at dinner as I was talking about it, because I never shut up about this stuff, but Ellie asked me, are they going to make a bunch of them, or is this just like a PR thing where they're going to, make a handful for, emissions targets? And as far as I can tell, they're going to make a bunch of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if after they get the ball rolling, they're going to accelerate their plans again. From what they talked about at the reveal event, or the production start event a couple weeks ago, it sounds like they already expanded their factory twice what they originally thought they were going to need. So that's great, and I'm hoping we get to see a lot of them on the road. So hopefully we'll get to see one in person soon. Really looking forward to that. A little bit more about that in a second. I just want to check in the comments since we had a rough start already. Roland, hey, how's it going? I hope he did a car show the other day and got to show off his Model 3, so hope that went well. The storm. Looks like I Got new glasses and my close focusing is terrible. Aviator 17. Aviator 17. Just got his wall connector hooked up today. Model Y is about a month away. That's good. That's nice to have that done in advance. Hey, Todd, welcome. John says he likes the F-150 Lightning. Vehicle to grid is going to be about $5,000. Yeah, it's a lot, but if you figure you got a power wall, that's I think more expensive, and then you have a smaller battery. So there's pluses and minuses to each one of those. So hey, Aaron, welcome. Todd says still waiting for the opportunity to ride or drive the F-150 Lightning. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully there are some. I believe what they've told dealers. And I should talk to the dealer up in Roseau because I think I have his number. Is they're sending them out to dealers and the dealers can't sell them for I think at least 6 months or something like that. That they just have to be there for ride and drives and to show people what they're going to be like. So if that's the case, we should be able to go somewhere and actually test drive it. So, yeah, it'll be cool to see if those are on dealer lots relatively soon. Look at the plant there. Yeah, look at the plant they're building. Yeah, it seems like they're going all in on. Well, as I was talking to my wife about the production, they're really ramping it up and doing more than they expected. The question is, how much could they do, and how many, gas guzzling or diesel F-150s are they still making, or F-250s or 350s, the huge ones. But at this point, there's no EV that can do those tasks. So as much as it frustrates me, just scrap the rest of it, go all electric. When you're talking about especially the big trucks doing, huge amounts of heavy towing, we're not going to be there for EVs for a while. Maybe when the Tesla Semi comes out, or maybe one of the Volvo semis, you could get one of those and do that kind of work with those. But I think for Ford, that's going to be a while. I wish they'd transition everything, even faster to electric. But for a legacy automaker, they are doing quite a bit faster than we expected. And I'll get into some comparisons a little later because that's why I put all those vehicles on the thumbnail, because as I'm watching all these Rivian videos, as I'm watching all of these F-150 Lightning videos, I keep seeing ads for the Silverado EV, which isn't even going to be here for another year. But they really want to put that in your mind as you're looking at other trucks. So I find that really interesting that Rivian is spending and Ford is spending to do their EV now, their EV truck now. And GM's like, hey, we're going to do it and it's going to be awesome down the road. Let's not get into any rush about this. So, a little typical, unfortunately, for GM, but I do think the Silverado is going to be a good truck when it gets here. I didn't put the Hummer EV on the thumbnail because as big and monstrous as it is, it's not really a pickup most people are going to be buying. So I put it in the category of like the Tesla Roadster or the kind of like the Lucid Air of, very expensive, not to disparage the Lucid Air, but the Hummer is excessive and ridiculous and a toy for a handful of people. whereas the F-150 seems to be very geared for work and job site kind of stuff. The Rivian can be used that way, but they definitely are more, aiming at the adventure type market. So more regular sized, regular use case vehicles than what the Hummer is going to be. Let's see. John says, I want to know how they're going to put a snowplow on the F-150 Lightning. I would guess just however they do it on the F-150 now, because the Lightning is, from everything I've heard people say, is this is meant to just work with all of the existing aftermarket parts and pieces, and you just use it exactly like you would a regular F-150. Now, like battery use, I think we talked about that maybe a couple weeks ago of, will the battery use hold up? But watching some of the reviews, I watched Kyle Connor's review, and he was tearing it up in that truck. And it seemed to hold on to its efficiency rather well, despite kind of some heavy acceleration he put it into. So I would definitely suggest checking out, if you want a really long, like how does it drive in great detail video, Kyle Connor on Out of Spec Reviews has an hour and 15-minute or something very thorough driving experience video with the F-150. Tom Malogney did a, I think, 20-minute video that was also very good and much more concise. They had pretty similar conclusions, although Kyle gets a little more into the nitty-gritty on his, as far as like driving and nitpicks and things. So, can I just check back here in the comments? John says, don't forget the grand opening. Yeah, Tesla Rogers. Yep. There's a new service center we got about 6 months ago. I think they actually opened, but they're doing a grand opening event tomorrow in Rogers, Minnesota. If you're interested and in Minnesota, you might want to go to that. Starts at 4. I think it goes until 7. I'll probably get there around 5-ish. Todd's going to be there. So if you want to meet Todd and John, that's a good place to do it. Roland says, yeah, the car show was awesome. Had fun. Always represent EV, even with some negative people's comments. Yeah. I mean, that's tough, especially up where you are in northern North Dakota, that people are going to, either be misinformed or just like to, kind of razz you about different stuff. But that's the good thing about the F-150 Lightning coming out. More and more truck guys are going to see these out and being used, and hopefully that'll change some minds. Aaron says, any word when the GMC Sierra will be unveiled? Teaser was cool, but I hadn't heard since. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I would guess they'll do the Silverado first. Or maybe, yeah, I would guess they'll do the Silverado first. Or we'd be seeing more marketing about it. Where they'd be marketing both the Silverado and the Sierra on posts about the Lightning and stuff. So that's my guess. Hey, Tim, welcome. How's it going? So anyway, I just wanted to talk through a couple of the reviews and some of the things. A couple of weeks ago, we talked through kind of the 4 different tiers of the Lightning. There's the Pro, XLT, Lariat, and then Premium. And obviously price and features go up in scale. Like I said, Tom Malogny's was the first video I saw on it. It was about 15 to 20 minutes, and got a little bit of the driving, a little bit on the charging, and seemed to really like it. He did almost too long in that forum for me section on the vehicle to home thing they're going to do. But that's kind of what he's into. He's all about the charging and charging equipment. So walked through the different charging options for it, what it takes to get your house outfitted. So if you're curious about that, his video is going to be a good start. And then he's got more in-depth videos on how that whole process works. And it is a cool feature of the F-150. I don't know if I would use it. We rarely have power outages here. It would be very rare. Like tonight, we had a lot of thunder, lightning. Occasionally, you might hear some of that in the background, but as if on cue. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we had lost power, but we didn't. But, it's maybe once or twice a year for, I think in the last 5 years, the longest we've had the power out was, 3 to 5 hours. So where I am, it's not a big need, but I know a lot of people are in the country or, in places that do have outages more often and might want something like that. So it's a good feature. I'm glad they have it. Then I read a column by John Volker. He's I can't remember who he writes for, but he also had, basically all positive things to say, and, talked a lot about what an important vehicle this is, the history of the F-150, and why it's a big deal. The thing every article I've read by him makes me think you can't be an EV supporter unless you crap on Tesla, because there's always got to be one thing about like why they're terrible or stupid or like what something they're doing is stupid. It can't just be, hey, this thing is good, I like it. It's got to be, this thing is good, and hey, I'm just going to throw in some crap because I don't like Elon or I don't like Tesla or whatever. And so that kind of drives me nuts. Like, I get it. It gets clicks, it gets attention, but, people can like different things and it's okay. So, yeah, I just kind of felt like out of the blue, let's bring something in just so I can get a dig in. So, overall good content, but it's just, not to my taste all the time. Then I did watch Kyle's Odyssey in the F-150, and he did a little bit, a good walk around and actually showed some features I hadn't seen noted anywhere else. So one thing was the full spare tire underneath. I think I've heard people talk about it, but I had never seen it. So he shows that. In Tom's video, he talked about the charging drop at 80%, and Kyle experienced that too. They both took their vehicles to the EA station and plugged it in, got over 80%. I think Tom's dropped down to 53% or 53 kilowatts at 80%, and Kyle's went down to 60 kilowatts. So big drop after 80, and I would assume it just continues to taper from there. So definitely a vehicle as of now that you're going to want to get off the chargers at 80 if you can, if it's possible. I'm hopefully, I think they sent a software update to the Mustang Mach-E's, and those can now charge a little better after 80%. I'm hoping they'll do that with the Lightning too, because with the Mustang, you're not generally going to be towing or hauling a heavy load. If you're towing and hauling a heavy load or you're not going to get as much range. And so if you need to do that 100%, you're going to be doing it with a trailer or having to detach a trailer, or you're already going to be in some inconvenient situations because of how you're using it. So then if you need 100% to get to the next charger or back to your job site or home, I don't think it's a great experience if people who are doing work on the clock, or at times will be on the clock, are going to need to do that slow charging. So I hope they can improve that. Again, we've seen that with the Lightning. And we've seen that with the even some of the Tesla cars, where after a while, after they feel like they have enough data, they kind of change the curve around a little bit and maybe give you a little more speed or a little more taper. So hopefully that will be the case here. Looked like some of the software stuff, as Kyle was kind of going through menus and things, was a little laggy, a little, not super. That could be early software. It could be it's just going to be the way it is. One thing it does seem like they show a lot of is data for the towing and the weight. It's got a scale in the bed, and so you can see exactly how weighed down you are. It's got a lot of towing information built into the software, and so that's going to be good and hopefully helpful as people really do work with these. Yes. The glass ceiling. I'm not sure if they all come. I think the lower trims don't come with a glass ceiling, but the Lariat and Platinum do. And I hadn't seen anyone else use the shade. There's a shade that rolls in, and you can retract it back as far as you want. Kyle did that during his ride and drive, and I thought that was really cool. So nice that's you can either have that that nice open window, or if you want to shield from the sun, or whatever. He was doing it for noise as he was recording, but yeah, cool that it's got that. And like I said, I didn't see anybody else talking about that. He did notice, he mentioned, and I think Tom mentioned too, that it's a little bit floaty, like really built for a comfortable ride, but that means it is, the suspension is has a bit of float to it, and when you accelerate, or I think Tom had said in his that if you have a lot of weight behind you, if you're towing, the front end can kind of lift up a little bit, so you don't necessarily get great traction in those situations. And Kyle was saying that's pretty similar to the standard F-150, which seems surprising, but hopefully that's, again, something they can balance out with software or how they tune the motors. So much of this is software based that, some of that dynamic stuff, I would think, could be tweaked over time, again, as they start getting data in from a lot of people actually using it. Hopefully they'll be able to tweak some of that stuff. So in general, I'm super excited for it, but not over the moon yet. Kind of that production thing, they had I think 2 weeks ago, they had the, production, hey, we're in production now. But I don't think customers have got the vehicles yet. And I'm sure there's logistics, shipping them, getting them to dealers, all that stuff. So I don't know if the review embargoes are over, if they would start shipping them now, or why you'd wait, but maybe you would. So I'm hoping these start getting into customer hands soon. Obviously for seeing more testing, but I'd love to just see them around and being used by humans. Maybe the ones they've been producing are those dealer models that can't be sold for a while. That could be the case. So we'll see. I'm excited to see them. It's kind of funny because I just got a good close-up look at the Rivian last weekend. Jason, who I don't know if he's in here yet, Tim was there, but Jason, his brother got the R1T, let Jason take it to Cars and Coffee, and so got to check it out there. And really cool to see the production version. I'm working on a video that'll be Sunday's video with close-ups and all sorts of little things I noticed or Jason pointed out. And as I was building this video, I was comparing it to the pre-production models that I saw in 2020 at Cars and Coffee, Fully Charged Live in Austin, Texas. And they made, I wouldn't say major changes, but some interesting changes since that point. One of them was the charge ports on a different side. It was on the passenger side in the pre-production. Now it's on the driver's side. And some other little details in the back and stuff. So it's interesting. I haven't seen. I'm trying to think if I've seen a bad review of the Rivian. Not really. So, and even Kyle in his video was kind of comparing them, but he said they're kind of different animals. And like right now, I prefer the F-150 because I'm in it and it's exciting. Jason was saying, he was gonna he really liked it, and he was like, yeah, I'll trade my Plaid for it, or would buy it from his brother right now, because he just said it was really comfortable and nice, and it's a good size. But so I think these two trucks seem to be very good. Silverado has a lot of good specs, but we're about a year away. Cybertruck, we're about a year away, and who knows what they're going to do to it by then. But it's cool that these things are actually hitting the streets, and I'm excited about that. I think a couple of years ago, I was talking to my dad while driving my EV, and he was like, yeah, well, be nice if they made an F-150 or I can't remember if that was the specific brand, but and now here we are. That stuff is actually happening, so that's cool. And if I get to ride or drive in one of those, I'm definitely going to get a current truck owner to come with me and say, here's how I feel about it as a gas truck owner, instead of just my impression. I've owned trucks in the past, but not for a long time, and they were all like old beaters. So it's a whole new ball game. So I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys are too. Gonna catch up with chat here. Roland says, I'm not a truck guy, but the Lightning Pro with a 40,000 MSRP, with or without the $7,500 rebate, is cheaper than his SR Plus, and it gets his attention. Yeah, if they can hit that price point with the Pro, and the dealers actually sell it for that, I mean, there's just no way they're going to be able to make enough of them. They're going to sell like crazy, which is great. I'm going to switch glasses here. Excuse me. And maybe I can actually focus on things. I do actually have a couple video clips I want to share with you all. Later. I could have done that there, but I left my mouse over there with a confusion at the beginning. Bag of Holding says storm came through here, Northeast Twin Cities Metro, and no power here, and no ETA. Oh, I'm sorry. That's no fun. Jim is here. Hello, Jim. Welcome. I hope... heard you guys had some 90s down in Iowa today or yesterday, so I hope you're staying cool. Let's see. The John says, did I see on Now You Know? Yeah, the Zach and Jesse from Now You Know do have the Rivian, and they've done a couple videos on it. Did I see that their Rivian truck tent is only $750 from REI instead of $1,400? Yeah, they got a good deal, or they were smart about it in getting the good deal. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Did you give back the Rivian, or are you still hanging on to it, not giving it back to your brother yet? John says, with nickel prices going up on batteries, the price is going to have to go up unless he's using non-nickel battery. I think Fords are... I can't remember who makes the battery for that. I think it's not LG. It's not Panasonic. I can't remember who it is. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the supply chains and all that stuff do to all these prices. 95 today in Iowa. Freezing last week. Yeah, that's exactly... I mean, we haven't had the 90s yet, but yeah, we went from... I was bundling my daughter up for school in a winter jacket last week, and today I was debating shorts. And I'm wearing shorts. Not that you all want to know, but... maybe I should set up a third camera for leg cam. Everyone wants that. Jason says he wanted it back. He wouldn't take a plaid in trade. Well, that's all right. Plaid's pretty good too, though, from what I've heard. But it sounds like you really enjoyed driving it when you had it. And Jason shared some pictures with me too that I'll throw into the video for Sunday. Like I said, it's really interesting to compare it to the pre-production model. Most of it's the same, but the power outlets in the bed of the truck, the Rivian, are on the passenger side in the production model, and the air hose or air compressor connection is in the driver's side, and that was flip-flopped in the pre-production. So I don't know why, or what choices they made that were different, but it's just kind of interesting to see some of that different stuff. Oh, John and I were talking about this. We're kind of jumping topics here, but John just commented about the swivel screen. So Jason's got a Plaid, but he got it before the swivel screen had the motor in it. According to Sandy Monroe's teardown, the one they tore down didn't have the motor to make it swivel. So, Jason, are you missing the swivel screen, or has there been any communication that they're going to add that and they were just waiting for the parts, or is that just, something you could add later? I'm kind of curious as to how they're going to handle that. Save the leg cam for my OnlyFans page. Yeah, definitely. I don't want to give those away for free. My sweet, sweet gams. Yeah, Roland, it would be cool to see an R1T at Sound of Silence, but there's just not the CCS infrastructure to get out there, I don't think. Unless they can bring it up from like Colorado or something, if someone had one. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think, I'm trying to think. Tyler said when he checked it out with his Bolt, to get from Alexandria, Minnesota to Custer would take like 3 days because there's not enough CCS infrastructure yet. So I would be really surprised. It would be cool if we saw one out there because that's good, mountain driving and everything. Jason said he might try to retrofit it. Okay. Yeah, John and I were talking about this a little earlier today, and I was wondering if, they just skipped it because of the supply shortage and said people have been waiting for their Model S's for a year and a half. We got to ship them. If the screen doesn't tilt right now, the screen doesn't tilt right now. And so, maybe it would be cool if they did a retrofit on the ones that don't have it, but I can also see them just saying, nope, we're just going to go from here forward. It seems to be kind of the way Tesla does stuff. John would tow it there with a 250 Ford, yeah. Well, that's one way to do it. Jason says Brandon is coming up from the south, so maybe there is a decent route coming up that way. I'm just not sure. And there's tons of level 2 charging once you get there, but we'll see how they handle it, John. I don't know. But anyway, all that truck talk, I wanted to touch on the Elon interview from, I think it was the Financial Times a couple days ago. And one of the interview overall was mostly fairly boring. Kind of the same questions you've seen Elon answer a dozen times. The interesting parts were when he was talking, they kind of did an overlap. J.B. Straubel was the speaker before Elon, and so they did 10 or 15 minutes of the two of them kind of talking together about the early days of Tesla, all the mistakes they made and stupid decisions they did. So that was kind of fun to hear and kind of fun to hear the interaction. Because I've heard Elon talk about this stuff so much, I would have liked a couple points of like, okay, shut up, Elon. Let JB chime in a little bit. But overall, that was a good moments, and kind of fun to hear them laughing about that now. So that part was good. A lot of the, there were some Twitter questions and stuff that got a lot of media attention, but he was talking, about how Tesla's on a pretty good, you know, they're on a good trajectory. They've got, tons of money in on the balance sheet. They've got factories opening up. It's a matter of continuing to ramp production and just kind of keep executing. And one of the questions was with the Hummer, with the Rivian, with the Cybertruck, are you worried at all with the Silverado? Are you worried about there not being a market for the Cybertruck when it finally gets here? His answer was basically no. And that was it. And then he kind of talked about how, he's confident that Tesla can sell every car that they can make for the foreseeable future. And I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, with the demand of the F-150, with the demand for other good quality EVs, the market is going to continue to grow as your neighbor gets one, and then the neighbor next to them says, "Oh, hey, it seems like this works. This works for their lifestyle. It doesn't seem to be a hassle. The garage isn't starting on fire. Nobody's worried about their range. They just go to work and back every day or trips on the weekends or whatever." And the more people see that, the more people see the Lightning, the more people see the Rivian, the Model 3s, the Model Ys, the, Mach-E's, the more they become commonplace, and when you go to dealers, they have electric options there, the more people are going to just move into them. And I think in the next couple of years, I thought this would happen like a year and a half ago, but I think it's going to happen now, because of COVID and everything shutting down and release dates getting delayed. That I think, we're going to just see a massive turnover in the vehicle fleet in the next 5 years. And in that time, until we're almost saturated with EVs, if you make a good EV at the right price, then you're going to sell all of them you can. If you go the Toyota route, and what the reading says is that you can't charge, or it may not charge below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If you pull stuff like that, you're not going to be able to sell your EV. Or you will, because you're Toyota and people have the brand loyalty and they're going to use it and be super frustrated. Hopefully not, but it seems like they've almost engineered it for that, which is frustrating. But maybe once they're on the roads, they'll be great and people will love them. But I think if you're giving people good charging times, good charging speeds, decent range, and an otherwise quality product with good interface and everything, a decent app, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to sell every one you can make. So, there's ramping production. There's all sorts of hurdles to get through, doing it profitably, things like that. But if you can do that, then I think you'd be able to sell every one you can make. So Elon's definitely not worried about it. And I think even if, judging by the stock market today, even if things slow down economically, I think people's personal position, financial situation is different than the stock market situation. And again, if things are priced right, I think, there are enough buyers at the right price. kind of, not to get on a weird financial take, but like every last like economic downturn as far as the stock market has gone, the last few of those have been some of my most successful personal life, like financial years. And not because I'm so special or anything, but I was working for a good company that was agile enough to pivot enough into areas where they could excel, even though things were kind of toned down, and find ways to excel. And so, because I was working for them and we stayed busy during those times, they were very good years for me. Not that it's great that the stock market is down or anything. I'm not saying that, but individual people have different lives than what the economy or what the stock market is doing. That was a heavy dose of air quotes, so I apologize for that. But I'm confident that the EV change is going to continue to happen. Yeah, he had zero demand concerns for Tesla, and unfortunately, the interview cut off. So one of the questions, the final question was, is there a place for hydrogen? I think it was in the vehicle segment. And Elon was about to go into his thinking on hydrogen, which he's stated before, but I always kind of like to hear where his thinking on it is. I think he has said, maybe for shipping or like boat shipping, it would make sense. But really, you have to use so much energy to make it and store it, and then it doesn't want to be stored, that why not just take that energy and put it right into a car and let it go, So interesting. Speaking of Kyle Connor earlier, he did a video on the Toyota Mirai, and that was pretty interesting. And he was like, yeah, hydrogen could work if we had enough stations and everything, but yeah, and he was, thought the car was fine overall, and liked it, but was just kind of testing it out. But he charged up, and I've heard, this could be hyperbole or wrong, but I've heard if a lot of people charge up, then it takes time for the station to repressurize for the next vehicle. I can't remember where I heard that, so don't take that as gospel, but, there's just the storage thing is a tough thing for hydrogen, because it's a teeny tiny molecule that doesn't want to stay enclosed in things. So, yeah, I would have liked to hear him finish that question, even though, like I said, the interview is maybe worth listening to. There are some things, if you're concerned about the Twitter deal, he was asked a lot about that, and I thought gave rational responses, even if you agree with him or not. I thought he at least made a good arguable point for some things. Definitely better. It was better than the headlines that came out afterward. Let it on to be. That was a weird turn of phrase. Also, Tesla has released its impact report, and sounds like a really good packet of good FUD busting data and information. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but hopefully hopefully I will this weekend, and then maybe we can talk about that and kind of show some slides for that next week if you're interested. That's I think from the charts I saw people posting online and things, it seems like a lot of the big claims about EVs are just getting crushed under what Tesla is doing as far as recycling programs, as far as battery life, as far as emissions through the life cycle of a vehicle. I think safety information is in there, and FSD information, data I think might be in there as well. So I want to take a closer look at that, and I'll bring you some highlights if I get a chance to do that next week. I'm going to check up on this, and then I want to bring you a special treat. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up here, sorry. I should change my name to Twitter Tesla. Yeah, I know, I spend way too much time on Twitter. Hey, Punk Ops. Welcome. Yeah, I was like, wait, that's Glenn, right? Yeah, that's his thumbnail. Yeah. But I hope the storms weren't too bad up where you were. Yeah, so there's some literature. Aaron's asking about that you can't charge the Toyota below 32 degrees. I think the wording is may not charge, and I don't know if that's may not charge at its full rate, and they just worded it weird, or may not charge as fast or something, but couple people called them out on that and like, hey, what's the deal here? Can we get some clarification? And I don't know if there ever was any. Yeah, Kyle took the Toyota. I can't think of it. It's like, is it the BZ4X? That might be the name of it. Or that might be another brand's. That might be a BMW something. But anyway, yeah, he couldn't even get it to charge to 100%. It went down to 1 kilowatt and then was just sitting there for hours. John says, Aaron, the new, yeah. Talking more about the charging problems, or, the slow charging. Aaron says he's got friends that want the Subaru version. I would assume those would have the same problems also. I would think so, but that might be one of those things they put in print to cover their butts, and it might not actually be a problem. Jason says, from a chemical standpoint, the very small molecule is hard to store is a very good way to explain it. Yeah, Elon has explained it before, but also I've heard like the containers, and even the containers in the cars only last a certain amount of time because of the interaction. The hydrogen is all, I don't know if it's corrosive or just any crack or the tiniest fissure in the material just lets it all out. So, but I shouldn't talk as if I know much about chemistry or about hydrogen. I just know it's a very small molecule. I believe the smallest, but I don't want to say that with definitely without a. I can't even think of the name of the chart. The periodic table in front of me. But I believe it is the smallest. So anyway, weird rabbit hole to bother getting down. So we have a new supercharger coming in Minnesota, and it's being built in Bloomington. And I drove up there. I'm going to switch to the other camera and show you some video I took last night. So I'll be right back. Hi, friends. I'm going to take the microphone too, which I've got intertwined with my notes and everything. All right, I muted you for hopefully most of that, so it wasn't too bad. Let's see, let's bring up. So this is a 35W. And 494 going around the Twin Cities. And so you can kind of see where it is in location to the rest of it. And it is not on Tesla's supercharger map yet, even as a coming soon. And I can't remember if this is a 10 stall. It looks like about 10, but it's kind of hard to tell the way they have the boards and things set up. I counted 12 parking spaces were being taken up, but I don't know if one of those will be for... oh, hey, look what's not in there. Hi. Let's get the stuff. Get back to. Yeah, so you can see Target parking lot. This lot gets pretty busy on big shopping days, and the Chick-fil-A next to it is always busy. But you can see all the piping run for the transformers and things. And then they'll run down the trough to the different spots. So cabinets are there being unloaded and everything, and then I would imagine the actual charging units and everything is in that locked storage cabinet. So Chick-fil-A nearby, Target, Hobby Lobby, there are some other restaurants on your way in there. So it will be nice to have kind of a further south supercharger. Would still be great to have one in Lakeville or Burnsville, you know, somewhere south of the river. But actually, yeah, it would be really good to have one. Oh, Aaron says 16 stalls. That would be fantastic. I wonder if they do 8 on each side and have a double-sided. That would work out pretty well. But they are working on it, and it looks like it's going to go pretty fast. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we can see that up and running and run up and test it. Maybe do a meetup or something there. I'm trying to think. Let me scroll back here. What is? There's something back there. I can't tell what it is. I should have looked closer. I think it's a business, though, not a restaurant. Jason says 16 too. That'd be great to have a 16 stall in that part of the cities. Would be really good for travelers. And it's going to be the closest one to the airport, too. So if you fly in or fly out, if you live here and fly out, it'll be handy. But if you fly in and rent one at a if you fly in and rent one from Hertz or wherever, or Turo, you'd have that as an option too. Yeah, Glenn says 16. And yeah, like St. Paul's got one that's kind of back to back. So yeah, hopefully it's like that. And yeah, it's a great place. I probably will use it once to try it and then never need it again. But it's good to know it's there. I guess if I was coming home, I could be more cavalier about my state of charge, and then if I thought I can't make it the last couple miles, I could duck out and stop there. But it will be really nice to have that. And so we'll come back and I'll dig for my notes here. Oh, well, I'm here. I put these in order, so I hopefully just move cameras a couple times. But wanted to just mention the Sound of Silence rally we talked about a little earlier. I did a Better Out Planner trip plan. Oh, Aaron says that Target has a ton of solar panels on it. Yeah, that is awesome. Where are we going here? Let's see. We need to go to the second screen. Oh, before we get to this, we were talking about trucks, and VW posts that they're making a truck for the U.S. market. They're going to start production in 2026. So if they feel like there's going to be a market for this in 2026, I would guess we can be confident that there will be a market for Cybertruck and other things in the next couple years. Now this apparently is Scout. This guy right here looks a lot like the Rivian. And it seems like this is a brand they used to have, they used to sell. And they're bringing it back from some of the posts I saw about it. Let's see if I can zoom in. It looks fine. This looks a little like the Jeep. I can't think of what the name of it is, but it's like an F4 or something Jeep. And, it's very hard to tell what this will really be like in reality. But it's cool that they're doing it, and they think they're going to... Yeah, this guy is saying, my uncle was an international dealer and sold many Scouts. So, yeah, I don't know anything about it. I guess I could... Oh, those. Okay. I have seen them. Kind of small Bronco-ish vibe. That's what I'm getting. So, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see if they think that they can join the market in 2026. They must be feeling really good about where EVs are going. This is going to be electric, isn't it? Am I not seeing electric anywhere? Oh, all electric. Okay, yes. I thought, how did this how did this get on my radar if it's not electric? But yeah, so that's cool. 2026 is a long way off, but we'll see. And then here, I just wanted to share. I just made this plan the other day and thought, more of my messy room here. So this is my plan. I think there's an event in the Minnesota Tesla Owners Group about a convoy. I think Tyler set that up, which I'm going to try to join. My goal is to get to work. I think that we're meeting in Worthington around noon, and I'm going to try to get there early and maybe get the drone up and get some good B-roll of everybody gathering there at noon, and try to do that along the way. Kind of do a video of the convoy from Minnesota heading over there. If the weather stays the way it is right now, we're not going to have the cold weather that we had last year, so that'll be really nice. Interesting, though, we've now got to a point, I was saying that there's not a lot of CCS charging to get up here. Let me just minimize this here. There's not a lot of but there is supercharging. And we're actually going to pass, like I'm going to be able to skip St. Peter unless I need a bathroom break. We'll definitely want to skip Sioux Falls because that's always iced. We don't need fist fights. Glenn's going an hour ahead of the convoy, hour or two ahead. Then it's got me going to Mitchell. This is Okama or Okoma. And then there's another one. Murdo is around here somewhere. Then this is Wall. And then the Badlands are kind of down here. So I'd like to get to the Badlands, but I probably won't if I'm sticking with the convoy. Okay, maybe Jason's saying maybe meet it at 11. Yeah, an error for the Rivian getting there, at least from Minnesota, unless you're going to go way out of your way. But this kind of brings us to an interesting topic. First of all, it's cool that you can do this route now and skip superchargers where you couldn't a few years ago. You needed to hit every single one of them, or most of them at least. And now you can be a choosy mom and choose Jif. So that's really cool. But it also brings up something that came up in Elon's interview, was that he was asked about opening up the supercharger network. And he said that they were going to retrofit CCS cables onto superchargers. That sounded like the plan they had, at least at this point, decided on doing. And that's pretty interesting. It's probably the best way to do it, and just, have it all built in rather than messing with adapters and things. But I was thinking it would be genius of them to start in North and South Dakota and Wyoming and Montana and retrofit those stations first. Because everybody who wants to cross that on CCS right now can't do it. And you would be doing a huge favor to CCS drivers who want to use these routes. And so I think it would generate a lot of goodwill, maybe not with the other networks, but definitely with CCS drivers. if you did the upper Midwest, covered those, covered that huge gap in EA's coverage, and then worked out from there, that would be a game changer for EV owners. And like I said, it would just garner so much goodwill. Now the question is, how many CCS drivers are driving through or want to drive through those areas, and would it be worth it rather than starting in the coasts and moving this way? I think it would just be such a great PR move that I really hope they do that. It would be very strategic and smart, and I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Maybe I'm off my rocker, but I just think, like, anybody that I know in Minnesota that drives a CCS vehicle would love to have those extra places to charge. I've talked about my friend who bought a Mustang Mach-E this year. Still need to meet up with him and see how it's been going for him. But yeah, all the national parks too. Yeah, just retrofit all of those, right away. And yeah, game changer. But his wife's family is in southern or western central Minnesota, like right on the border. And he obviously wants to take the Mustang Mach-E out there. I don't know if he has yet, but if he could charge at these superchargers, it would be a huge difference, especially a huge difference in speed for him. So, yeah, as I was planning my route, and then Elon said that, I thought, oh man, that could really be a big deal. I'm also thinking, that's not the right thing. I'm also thinking during the Custer stay, I might run up to Devil's Tower. I don't know if anybody's done that on their weekend or is going to do that during Sound of Silence. But I think it would be kind of cool. It would be cool to go there. It'd be cool to go there at like sunset or sunrise. Sunrise, you'd have to wake up very, very early. Might not be worth it. And sunset would be during the other events, so obviously you don't want to do that. But it's such a beautiful spot, and I've been there a couple times, but I've been close so many times and not gone that I feel like it's almost a wasted opportunity. So if anyone's interested in maybe doing a convoy one morning up there, let me know. And we'll see. I might not have the gumption when I'm actually out there doing it. Let's see. I keep moving the display you guys are seeing instead of the display up here. But Roland's going to have to come down from Williston up here. And I think maybe come down here. I think Spearfish is somewhere here. I'm not sure what the best path from up there is, but hopefully it's a good group from a lot of different places again. Last year was really cool to see all the different states people came from, and it'll be interesting this year. I don't know if there were Canadians last year, but it'll be interesting to see if there are this year. But with the Cyber Rodeo Giga Texas thing, I wonder if it will even be as full as it was last year. But we'll see. So excited for that. That's 2 weeks away now. Roland says we'll stop at Bowman RV Park before Spearfish. Okay. So yeah, I think there's a... I don't have the map up, but there's an RV park like 3/4 of the way down and then stop at Spearfish. Yeah, I hope everyone has a good trip out there if to whoever is going. No rock chips in each other's windows this year, please. Let's see. We already talked about Rogers. An interesting thing, my video last week was, I'm going to switch to the other camera again. No Canadians last year, the borders were closed. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody comes down this year. And now we're off to the other camera. Ooh. If I take a long time to get here, then it seems like my room is really big and I'm not just moving 2 feet. It's more impressive, right? It's all that sweet, sweet YouTube money. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is lots of other EV events going on right now. And I saw the Minnesota EV Owners Group. Unfortunately, it's on the 20th that they're doing like a regatta event. I think it's in Eden Prairie, where they're going to have electric boats and stuff, but they want to have some RVs. Not RVs, EVs. Maybe they want RVs too. But they want to have some EVs there too to kind of show in the parking lot, and then they're going to show off these electric boats, which sounds super cool. I'd love to do that. But the downside of going out of town to these events like Sound of Silence is that you miss the local stuff that's going on. I swear, every time I've gone out of town, there's been like 2 or 3 events that I've wanted to hit and couldn't because of like I'm out doing other EV stuff. So that's interesting. But if you aren't going to Sound of Silence, I think it's on the 20th. It's in the Minnesota EV Owners Group. And yeah, so look for that if you're interested. If you're not in Minnesota, look for events near you because there's a lot of cool stuff happening all over the place. I know a lot of people don't like Facebook, but if you're willing to stomach Facebook enough to join, a lot of the Tesla owners groups are on Facebook. So find one in your area, join, and enjoy events. EV owners and Tesla owners groups. So, and there's some overlap in some of them, but the more the merrier at those events. I just did a video last week about the couple events we did around Earth Day, and a couple weeks before we did a ride and drive event and kind of a really nice test loop where you could do a little bit of city driving, but then get out into the country and everything and get some good corners in. So if you're interested in that, check out my video from last week or this past Saturday. Sorry. And where was I going after that? We already talked about the Rogers Service Center opening tomorrow. That'll be cool. I'll go to that. Then I was going to talk about this weekend. I've got, thanks again to Jason and his brother, I've got the video about the R1T and, like I said, comparing differences from 2020 to what the production version is. Really cool. A lot of interest in that car at Cars and Coffee. So it's funny. Like I was listening to some of the footage I took there, and like in the background you can hear people talking, and Yeah, it's kind of like a Tesla, and somebody talking about the engine, where's the how does it run and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of fun to revisit, but because there was a lot of talking, that's going to be mostly voiceover and B-roll. Beautiful, beautiful B-roll. And again, like I said, some pictures Jason shared with me as well. So excited for that. That'll drop Sunday morning. But while that's dropping, I will be in Grand Marais. I've got a family thing on Saturday in Two Harbors, and since we were going up there anyway, we kind of said, why don't we just, take the whole weekend, go all the way up to Grand Marais. My great grandparents lived there, and so we've been going up there since I was a kid. And so planning on going beyond the supercharger network. And it would be kind of fun to go up to Thunder Bay, but I don't have, my passport isn't valid. I need to renew it. But someday I want to drive up to the Thunder Bay supercharger. But I'll be charging in Grand Marais either at the campground or at the Zeph Energy charger they've got there. So we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely be making a video of that situation. So looking forward to that. It's going to be, mostly family time, but I should have enough time to get some good footage, and we'll see how the charging goes. With my 2015 Model S, I was able to drive from Duluth to Grand Marais and back with a few percent left on the battery. So I would think I could pretty easily do that with the Model Y, but obviously we're going to want to drive around when we're up there and things like that, so we will be charging up there. When I did that with the Model S, we just had to go check to make sure a door was locked, and so it was a quick run, got to a house, made sure things were locked and sealed up tight, and turned around and drove back. So I don't know that I would have chanced it for a longer stay without charging up there. But we'll see how things are. Obviously, there's the new charger. There's still the campground that should be open for a few bucks. You can charge there. But there are a lot of people who take their Teslas up there, if the last couple of years are any indication. So it'd be kind of funny if they're like all like everywhere's packed with Teslas. It'd be funny, but not very fun, I guess. But like I said, I'll be doing a video on that trip, how it all goes. Hopefully we get some good weather, so there's some nice views, some nice charging info, and another good little mini road trip. And then the following week will be obviously the trip out to Sound of Silence. So looking forward to the next few weeks, but it's going to be very busy in the meantime. So like I said, should still be able to do live stream next week. And hopefully that's on the Tesla Impact Report, unless we get some other bombshell news or something happens in the world of EVs. I did want to talk, we talked a little bit about the Toyota, but also the, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I should have written it down, but it was there's a new SUV from BMW that's come out that Tom Maloney really loved. Seems like other people were really impressed with it. And it's so cool that there are getting to be so many releases and so many new things dropping that it's hard to keep up with. And kind of like I was saying with the EV world is growing. The EV market is really the whole vehicle market, not just who's bought an EV before. So converting everyone over takes all these different vehicles, and more kind of start slipping through the cracks as I'm looking for stuff. And like I see it and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to check that out. Oh yeah, I got to check that one out. The Ioniq 5 and the EV6, I've seen in person, but haven't really had a great look at them yet. And they seem like really good vehicles. Again, people are really happy with them. And that kind of stuff is going to get their neighbors engaged. And, that market's just going to keep growing. So I'm going to try to keep up with announcements and checking out vehicles as I see them around or as I make contact with owners and can take a look. So hoping to do more of that. But it's also cool that it's hard to keep up with, where a couple of years ago it was you might get an announcement of something that's coming 3 years from now. Like, oh, well, that's not really anything but a rendering. But now real vehicles are hitting the streets, and that's pretty sweet. That's about all I had to talk about tonight. But if anybody else has anything in the chat, let me know. John and I were talking earlier today about the amazing efficiency with these nice warm temperatures. And so hopefully everyone has great efficiency with their cars as things warm up into more summertime temps. Yeah, I hope everyone is gearing up for a summer of great EV adventures. And I left my my trackpad over here. Usually I have that with me, but a little discombobulated today. Hope everyone made it through the storms all right, and everything, like I said, is gearing up for a great next few weeks of road trips and adventures, and I hope it does for you too. So with that, I will say goodnight. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.